be clear, any foreign intervention, I don't care if it's from the Russians, the Canadians, or the Haitians into our electoral process, troubles me. I got it. Let's look into it. But the fact that, this just gives more tinder to those on the left who refuse to accept the president-elect as the new president. Again, folks, I wish I was sitting on that Senate panel, and maybe I will one day, and go, Admiral Rogers, did Putin hack into Senator Clinton's brain, or Secretary of State, or former Secretary of State Clinton's brain, and tell her not to campaign in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin hard? No, sir. Did the Russians add 2.5, nearly 3 million votes to her popular vote total? No, sir. Okay, no more questions from the gentleman from Florida. It's ridiculous. Now, if they're planning fake news stories and stuff like that, I got it. But in my opinion, the 6 major networks, or 5, or whatever you want to call them, they are full of fake news, for Christ's sake. That leading up to the election for 6 months, one of my folks was like, hey, for the past 6 months, you sound a little off. I'm like, because the whole time we were getting hot and heavy in the election, I'm like, they're all lying to us. I fly around this country. I speak to people. I am out on Main Street, and I know that everybody would look left, look right, and go, I'm voting for Trump. She's awful. How do you vote for somebody who's under investigation by the FBI? So I knew the mainstream media was lying to us, so let's blame it on the Russians. It's awful. So there's your rant. 45, 1 minute, second rant. Now, really glad we got out of our weekly options bull put spread. I told you, when we have a rip your face off rally on a Tuesday, in this case, right out of the gate, you see a little bit of follow through on a Tuesday, or I'm sorry, on a Wednesday. Thursday it flattens out or down, and Friday we sell into the close. We're doing the exact same thing. I think I've called this every time we do this, and I was looking to leg into an iron condor, or at least sell a bear call spread, but it's probably a little late. Don't want to risk it. But really nice trade, 81%, $1,425 in a day. So we're really happy with that. And then if you were in that XLE bear call spread from Tuesday's primary live trade brief, and you got out of it as the XLE imploded Tuesday afternoon, you're looking great. But the Fed minutes. You could have taken them to the restroom and used them for other than reading. They really weren't worth the paper they were written on. The Fed minutes cite uncertainty about the impact of Trump on the economy. Take a look at the stock market. I know that, I'm about to smack myself in the face, because I am the one that always says, hey, the stock market is not the economy. Look at Obama. The economy sucked. Period. The people not in the labor force, all sorts of stuff, waiters, waitresses, hotel staff, they're touting all these, 15 million or however, all these new jobs they produced. They weren't in Silicon Valley. They weren't in manufacturing in the Rust Belt. They were in hotels and bars down the street. Not to bemoan those people, anything. They're making a living and providing for their family, but that's just not, those aren't good jobs, okay? So obviously the Fed's like, we are uncertain about the impact of Trump on the economy. I'm going to tell you it's going to be good. From defense spending to infrastructure spending to looser regulations on businesses. One of the reasons the economy imploded was this. Let me drop this phone book of regulations on your small business, sir. Okay, thanks, and now I'm out of business. So I can't wait, man. This economy has been a jack in the box that's been, there's been a safe on top of it. The safe is gone, and the economy is going to pop out of it. You mark my words, folks. We called the Brexit. We called the election. We've called so much this year. We called the get out of China about a month ago as the FXI imploded. We might, and as options traders, we might be able to reverse pretty quickly. Global stocks rise to 1.5-year high after Chinese intervention halts the dollar rally. So the yuan, shocker, they can wake up and play with their dials on their currency, which is, they're a currency manipulator, okay? We all know that, is interesting. So we'll talk about this more in our live trade briefs, but we got out of FXI for a month. I didn't know how long that was going to be for. We might get back in. I think both sides fired their initial shots, and China even almost fired a shot as they just pulled up and stole one of our underwater drones right from under our United States naval ship's nose. And I think the smoke might settle a little bit. I think behind the scenes, even though Trump's appointed a bunch of hawks to deal with China, it's in China's best interest not to have a trade war either. Okay, they aren't us. We're pretty good and self-sufficient. The world's allegedly number one economy, they don't want that either. So again, aside from the tweets and the press conferences on their end threatening a trade war, we'll take a look at China here next week. Oil prices hovering near 18-month high. I love these headlines. Hopes, skepticism. Hope, skepticism. Whenever you see a story about OPEC and oil, the subheadline is always skepticism, doubt, or hope. Hopes remain high that OPEC will be cutting output this month. Here's exactly what's going to happen, and today my call sign is Nostradamus. There will be an initial round of, yep, we throttled back. And then weeks or a month later, there will become a report that says we all lied and we kept it at the same levels. So wait, watch it, and then send me a bottle of wine if I'm right. Talked about Apple yesterday. Good upgrade finally out of Facebook. My Facebook trade, I have a couple long call diagonals with protective puts in the accelerated retirement portfolio. Finally getting airborne here. Aegis Capital putting a $1.50 target on Facebook. Remember, and when I talked about this yesterday, one of the reasons people are feeling that, hey, the financials or the market's overvalued here is because everybody, all the guys on Wall Street just got back. They're sitting in their cubes going, all right, now we have to reprice JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and look at what's going on. People think that they're overvalued because they haven't seen a new price target yet. Once somebody throws out a $125 price for JP Morgan next year, it's going to look cheap right now. Right now, it looks expensive. So use your brains, folks. And this is what we do at TGO. We teach you to use your brain. Know that things might look overvalued because they're undervalued because they haven't been readjusted. I know that makes sense to you because you're a smart guy and gal. Predicted this. We said we would move sideways into the holidays. This low volume pullback last week was on about three guys on the floor trading, Moose, Rocco, and Steve. Nothing to it. And then as soon as people got back to work, this rally continues. We nailed this, we nailed this, we nailed this, and we nailed this. We nailed this Fed meeting, and we're having a blast here at TGO, folks. Hopefully you can tell. Finally, take a look at, Boeing, Lockheed, BAE. Boeing and Lockheed got their initial tweets right up their 6 o'clock position from Trump. I think he might leave them alone for a little while. Okay, we'll fix the price on Air Force One. Lockheed, oh boy, we don't want to lose this business, to a squadron of F-18s, one joint strike fighter. So Mr. Trump will fix it. But here's an untold story. We don't drop Nerf missiles, folks. We drop bombs that go boom, and they ain't cheap. Sparrow I fired in the fleet was about $1 million, man. Or a JDAM, $500,000. I forget what the GBU-24s are right now. Maybe they might be $1. They might be $1 million now. You load a fully armed Hornet out there, and you got maybe $10 million of ammo on that thing. That, if you ever watch some of the movies about what goes on, war is good for business. It's an awful thing to say. It's a Gordon Gekko thing to say. But it's good for business. It's good for me as an investor and stocks. So we'll take a look at the defense sector next week. I was talking to one of my Commanding Officers Club clients, and that's the most elite service we have here at TGO because you get one-on-one time with me essentially whenever you want it and scheduled. But we looked initially at defense firms at the beginning of the year because he is going to be good for defense. And then he hammered them a little bit. I said, nope, let's back off. Now let's get back in. Just like China, I think Trump did his initial tweets. He fired a bunch of missiles, and now those were the initial negotiations, like heads up, incoming. All right, that one didn't kill us. Let's regroup. So a lot of good stuff going on here. We'll take a look at China and defense stocks next week. Other than that, I will get out an urgent alert sometime today, maybe a bullish double vertical on VXX because vol is pretty cheap here. When vol is cheap, you buy it. When it's expensive, you sell it. Okay, and vol's still cheap down here, the VIX around 12 or 11-ish. You see a 12 or an 11 in front of that decimal point, it's time to get long. Well, Wiz, everything looks great. We got inauguration coming up, folks, and I've been saying this for 2 weeks, and then I saw an article or a story on Fox about this, so I'm glad Fox is a subscriber here at TGO. Do not be near a Trump property on January 20th. A big-ass building in the Philippines with Trump on it is an ISIS target, I am telling you. Whether they blow it up or burst into the lobby and spray machine gun fire, it's most likely going to happen. I don't want it to. I pray to God it doesn't. But if you're not long vol going into the inauguration, you're a fool. Period. Okay? And I'm gonna talk about how to do that this afternoon in my urgent alert. If you're not a member here, make sure you sign up and we'll be good to go. Okay? Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I will talk to you tomorrow for Friday's market wrap up.